Alright, in this video we will be talking about Deepwoken. Now, I feel like I have not played the game. Well, okay, I've played the game a good amount, but I haven't played it as much as I wanted to. So I wanted to make like some sort of Deepwoken video, so I decided to make a video onto whether or not the game is worth buying, because I feel like I've played enough to know that, and there's only one thing I'm not completely sure about. But we'll touch on to that when it comes. Anyway, Deepwoken. Let's cover the basis of the game and what it has to offer. It is definitely, as I'm sure you've heard, a difficult game, unlike a lot of other games on this platform, and it's very unique to the point where you could lose all of your progress just off of a few deaths. It's definitely a bit of a learning curve, and it's something to get used to, but it is very rewarding once you do gain a grip on the world and the just the gameplay in general. Like it's definitely a lot more satisfying to be good at something like Deepwoken than it would be to, let's say, for example, no shade to blocks roots. It's not hard to be good at blocks roots. There's not a lot of skill to it, but this game there is, down to the knowledge about the game, down to the PvP, the world, just the whole thing, the mechanics, everything. There's so much to learn, there's so much to do. So yeah, that's just one thing. On the topic of the world and all of the things to do, is the world, as what it seems, is very vast and kind of, it's just so fun to explore all the little things about it, looking at the character dialogues and just like noticing all of the small attention to detail in the game. Going to new islands, discovering new mechanics. At one point I started like ziplining around. I didn't even know that there were zip lines or anything, and there's climbing mechanics that are very, very interesting to use. Not very similar to a lot of games that I've played, but they are very, very fun mechanics. And just like going to a new island really and just exploring something that you're not used to is just so entertaining, just like running around and having no idea what it's going to be around the corner. I end up comparing, in my first Deepwoken video I made, I ended up comparing it to Breath of the Wild, and I think that was a really good comparison. It was just like, you just run around and you don't know what's going to happen, but you'll figure it out. You'll put two and two together at some point. A guide may be useful to just understand, because they kind of do throw you at just with like no bearings, like no tutorial, no nothing. But other than that, like, you know, just basic ideas of certain things, like for example, campfires are where you can heal up. Just stuff like that would be nice. But exploring little things, like you can even find chests just on the ground with loot in them. I didn't know that, but it's very cool. They can be hidden sometimes, they can be in plain sight sometimes, they can just be anywhere. And just looking around at how like genuinely beautiful some of these islands are, and just realizing how small you are in the large scheme of things, is definitely a very, very, very satisfying feeling that this game executes really well. And just letting you jump around, making you feel like you're just some explorer. It's a hard feeling to pull off, especially on Roblox, but they managed to do it. Like the devs who worked on this game really pulled it off well. Yeah, the exploration is just fantastic, and the leveling, which is not something I got to do a lot of, correlates well with this, in the fact that there is no like quests that you really like. There's no quest progression. Well, there's like a slight, like certain areas will be higher level, but there's no like you have to do this quest and this quest and this quest. No main storyline. You just go do what you want. It's kind of, you play the role that you want to take. You do these quests, or whatever quest, whatever will level you up, whatever will make you the most money, whatever will gain you the skills that you seek, whatever fits your play style. If you want to do something, if you want to spend your money and spend your notes on knowledge and learn more about magic, if you want to learn more about like weapons, whatever it is that you want, you can do. And there's no real like solid core progression that'll get you to the same outcome of other players, but you can kind of just do what you want, which is very nice. And even though, again, it is a learning curve because they kind of just throw you into, it's like being thrown in the woods with nothing, and you just kind of got to figure it out. You talk to NPCs, you pay attention to their dialogue. Sometimes it'll be important, sometimes it won't, and you just do that, and it's entertaining, and it just works, and it's surprisingly like fun. But yeah, then there's the character customization. There are other races in this game. I did not bring that up, but yes, there are other races. They don't do much. Some have some certain buffs, some certain passives, but they're not very game breaking or anything. They're very slight, and all of that. Another big game mechanic is the deaths. So how deaths work in this game is if you die, you are taken to this place underwater. I can't remember what it's called. The depths. It's called the depths. And it's if you die twice, because when you're alive you get 2 lives. If you die twice, you're taken to the depths. In the depths, there'll be these like jellyfish things that will be trying to kill you, and you're taken to this town. And if you can reach the top of the town, you can see this light. You can take an elevator up to the top, and then you'll be respawned, and you won't lose any of your progress. You won't lose anything, and you'll be given back 2 lives. But there are these things trying to stop you, and if they spot you when you're trying to reach the top, where the elevator is, it'll take you out of the depths, then you will be killed. Pretty much you'll be hunted down by these, like, I think it's like these light mages or something, and they are crazy strong, and you definitely will not beat them in a fight. And yeah, you die. And when you die to them, you die for real. You get taken to this place that like this like little afterlife place where you pretty much have a conversation with yourself, and then he's like, when you're ready, we can end this. And then you just die, and that's it. And then you can recreate your character and you start over. That's pretty much it. It kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Restarting is not like it's still, you can take a different route into the way that you play versus the way that you played the first time. So I guess it is like a bit of a learning experience. But yeah, that's what the game has to offer when it comes to like you're just the world and the character progression and like kind of just the difficulty of it all. But yeah, what else is there? All right, so next we will talk about the combat system. So the combat system is not a stun based combat system, it's a parry based combat system, and I really don't have a firm understanding of how it works. I do know that it can actually look pretty cool and be pretty intense when you add magic into it, but all I've ever done was just the basic M1 with a sword based combat. I really don't know how big it is, but I do know that it definitely does, it takes skill, and it definitely does evolve past, like there's definitely a learning curve to it, and it does evolve past, you know, what you basically just see off the start. Whenever magic gets involved, it definitely gets a little more complicated. When other skills get involved, it definitely gets a little more complicated. I have no idea how any of that stuff works, but I do know it takes skill, and it is something that you have to get used to, because the combat in this game is not like the others in other Roblox games. So yeah, that is definitely really interesting, but I don't know what, like, if there's any metas to it or what. I don't know how shields work or anything, but I do know they're there. So yeah, but the combat does seem very cool. It does like seem like something that would be really interesting to get into. I don't know how the combat could be bad in any way, to be honest with you, because it does seem like it's fairly balanced. It doesn't seem like there's any like big issues with it. But again, what do I really know? But yes, the combat seems cool to say the least. Like, that's really, like, I wish I could say more. I really do, but again, I just feel like I don't know enough about the game's combat to give a proper, you know, just give my proper input about it. So I guess I will just simply leave it at that. Also, I really hope Sly does not mind, but I am using footage from Saikage's video just to show off some basic PvP. I won't use too much of it, but we'll use some just to show it off because I myself don't have enough footage. But yeah, go sub to him and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's it for the combat system. I do know it relies on magic and all weapons, and you know there's gameplay mechanics around it, but I just don't really know how it works that well. But it does seem really cool, really interesting, and very kind of skillful. So yeah. Okay, I have done this game a lot of praise, and I have talked about how good it is, but let's legitimately look at some of the cons in this game. So one of the cons kind of comes with one of the pros. The world is vast, and they do really just throw you in bare bones, not really giving you an idea of what to do. You kind of just try to figure it out, talk to NPCs, and find your way of the land, which is why people like need guides so much for this game. But a guide kind of ruins it sometimes. But it does feel like you don't know what you're doing sometimes. Sometimes you'll be just like running around trying to figure it out, and for the most part that's a good thing, but sometimes it's just like you wish there was an arrow pointing you in the right direction because you just feel lost and confused, and it can be kind of a frustrating feeling. It's not that bad, but it does sometimes, it gets annoying. Or like whenever that live system, it really caught me off guard at first because I just tried swinging on some guards, and before I knew it, I swung on a guard once or twice, and then boom, I was in the underwater depths, and I was like, what? And then I died there, and I was like, oh, I lose all my progression. Cool. Like, some things I feel like you should be warned about in this game that they don't really warn you about, and it would be just nice to be warned of some of the difficulty of these gameplay mechanics, because I think there is actually a warning for it, but they don't fully explain it. They don't flesh it out, okay? It's just like a vague warning, and I'm like, it would be nice to know some of these things. But yeah, that's really like the biggest con I can think of. There's not really any other cons that I ran into. I kind of enjoy almost everything about this game. I really do. I like a lot of the things. I really like the exploration. But yeah, to answer the main question of this video, yes, this game is worth it, dude. It's 400 Robux, which is a bit pricey, but I do think that you can find yourself really getting into this game. At the start, it may be difficult. You may find it boring. You may not know what you're doing, but if you invest enough time into it, you can just like, you'll find yourself just exploring, wanting to know more, wanting to do more, and it's just such a unique experience. I'm not going to sit here and say it's for everyone. If you genuinely do prefer more of a kind of, it sounds insulting when I say it like this, but a casual or, okay, a more brain deadish experience, and maybe this game is not for you. But this game is more of a, I mean, you can still play it casually. Like, it's still fun to play casually. But if you don't like thinking a lot when you play games, then maybe not. This isn't for you, because, you know, you got to put two and two together. You got to sometimes think outside the box for some certain things. You got to pay attention and, you know, just, I mean, you can't just explore brain deadly and just figure it out. It may be more difficult, it may take you a bit longer, it might be a little more frustrating, but you can still do it. And maybe you might suck at the combat, but it is what it is. So this game has stealth. Like, that's pretty cool. I didn't even know that till recently, actually. This game has stealth, and you can sneak up. And it's just like, you can do so much, and you can be so much. You can be so different from other players. And I think the versatility is absolutely amazing. Just versatility in games, being different, being unique, is just always such a good thing to have. Especially in this game where, like, sure, you're in a game with a bunch of other people, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels like its own solo experience, which is great. And also, it doesn't have to. If you don't want it to be a solo experience, you can invite your friends, you can join a guild, and you can go out on your exploration together. That also obviously works. You can do whatever you want, and it's fantastic. Anyway, I'm done praising this game. I even praised it in the cons section, but yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. I'm saying the game is worth it. That's it for this video. See you guys next time. Peace.